song, pretty lady. Born to be angry, grip of the vice, click on the trigger, girl. Sip hard on ice, it's about time. Best to the right, you better know. My heart's your, go baby go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about. All the years of paradise, paradigms paralyze us. You're crazy. All the cards you organize, shuffle twice in front of my eyes. Everybody needs what's so cold, girl. Lights, love, go, baby, go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about.
It's one of the most famous circuits in the world, and the Alpha Touring Challenge has not visited it since the end of Season 2, and there were only 10 cars on the track then. Today, 39 cars will circulate the track for 1 hour of racing around Spa-Francorchamps. Two pit stops are expected in this one, but the real kicker is that this is not your typical endurance challenge. This is the 15th season's endurance special challenge. Special challenges, we have one per season, usually. Always trying out a different format or throwing an interesting wrench into the works somehow in the race. This season, we're doing a throwback to something we did in, I believe it was ATC11, which is a class invert by the current championship standings. Now we're halfway through the season, so we've got a good sample of races to pull points from and grid those guys today. So let's see how it turned out. The starting grid for the class invert today. And what's the class invert? That means that the Alpha class will still start ahead of the Delta class, but all the drivers will be inverted according to their championship position. And David Bauer ends up starting on pole today with Cooper Akers alongside him. Darnell, Bertolucci, Zepka, Mitchell, Bowman, Liebold, Lausanne, and 2 round out the top 10. I think the back half of that top 10 are really, most of that top 10 is not too abnormal. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because once you get outside the top 10, the really fast drivers, you've got Hendricks and Schink and De Almeida. I mean, McFarlane's right there in 11th, Mayer's 15th, McKenzie 16th, and Polasek, your championship leader, starts this race from 17th position on the grid. In the Delta class, Adrian Fedorowski will be your pole sitter, with Noah Namiak and Nick Beta just behind him. Jeremy Barber, Daniel Bond, Mark Booley, Austin Dunbar, Kyle Trost, Marcel Thomas, Gareth McAllister, Lewis Gilbert, Jason Lynn, and Tyler Long. That gets you back to 30th, but there are 9 more cars, and those cars are Rickmeyer, Lobner, McDonald, Rakowski, Murray, Saab, DeJay, Thomas, and Daniels. Your top 5 in the Delta class standings right there in the back of the grid. Rakowski and McDonald and even Lobner, I think, still have an outside shot at this championship. And if all goes his way, you could even say that about Rick Meyer. So let's keep an eye on how this group performs. Let's keep an eye on how Michael Polasek, Logan McKenzie, and Matthew Mayer perform, and those around them and the like, because it is going to be quite the start for them. And you see the cars have finished, mostly finished gridding up here. And we are now just waiting for the green flag here at Spa. There is your championship leader, Michael Polasek. And he is starting just behind Matthew Mayer. Mayer has 1 win on the season thus far. Looking for a second today if he can navigate the field a little bit better than Polasek. There is your pole sitter, David Bauer. He will wait to lead the field off here at Spa. 1 hour of racing, a lot of action expected here. And this grid invert is going to throw everything for a loop. And now we just await those 5 red lights. The gridding timer's been extended a little bit for this one. So we're waiting a little bit longer than usual, but it will be the 35 to lead us off and the 29 alongside him. It's not a very long run down to turn 1, so how is this gonna go? They are getting ready to go now. And we are green here at Spa, and they are going down to turn number 1 with Bauer immediately staying defensive on the inside. Akers working the outside, and look at the huge stack up of cars behind. And the Delta class honestly looks fairly well separated from the Alpha class there. You can see a distinct separation between the 2 fields right now. Bauer will lead us through Radeon and a Rouge for the first time today. And again, it just seems like there's a big gap between the classes right now. They come off of Radeon, and so far so good. Oh, they're 4 wide, and what is going on there? That looked like Michael Polasek, and look at that, that's McKenzie going 3 wide, and Polasek had to take a slowdown to avoid that. And going into the corner, there's more scrapping up ahead. You have Raymond 2 alongside. There's 3 wide between Lazan and Schink and Bowman. They've all sorted that out. And so far, looking like a clean race. Adrian Fedorowski still leads the Delta class, but not anymore. Daniel Bond has left in the lead of this race. Lewis Gilbert going for a move on Nick Beta here. And he is going to pull that off and collect Fedorowski with him. Now, into this new bike corner, replacing the no-name on this layout. Lazan and Bowman getting dicey as they come down to pull on for the first time today. Everyone trying to get on that racing line, but look at this. Micah Hendricks doesn't want to play nice with Zachary Bowman. He's sticking the nose in, but he can't get it done. And now Matthew Zepka, he's off. He's gone way off at Puan, and he's going to have to rejoin. Has he have any damage? I don't think he does. It's a very large runoff there. As we see, Noah was the car getting a little wiggly there. It's the 900, but he keeps it together. Oh, and there's contact between Kyle Murray and that is Brian Saab. 2 of the championship protagonists dumped to the side of the course, and now that benefits their Delta rivals. And no, Noah's been turned, but I think oh no, Dave Thomas is involved. Another Delta championship contender. And now we got to cut back to Michael Polasek. Mike De Almeida, look at this. He's pushing his teammate as hard as he can. These guys are well behind the rest of the Alpha class right now. Daniel Bond, your Delta leader, is right on the back of these guys. And Beta is always into the back of Almeida. Across the chicane into McKenzie. And McKenzie has to go straight to the pits. The Almeida is parked there. McKenzie cuts across pit entry, and he goes straight to the garage. Championship contenders being taken out left and right in this race. Lewis Gilbert has assumed the lead of the Delta class off of that incident. It looked like Daniel Bond was slowed down from it. And now up ahead, more carnage. John Lazan gets spun wide. Beta has to take evading action. That means that Lewis Gilbert is getting a nice lead built up there. He now has a second advantage on Bond and another second on Beta. Jess Rakowski going by John Lazon here as they head to Eau Rouge and up Radillon. And now there is a big crash. Matthew Mayer and Damon Mitchell have come to blows, and that is going to be it. And they get out of the way of the rest of the Delta class coming through. Polasek going through on Zach Bowman now. And we are looking at Rakowski and Lazon going side by side at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Lazon looks like he is carrying some damage, and he goes wide there, and he's going to come back on, and he's going to end up behind Austin Dunbar. And now let's take a quick look at the lead of this race. David Bauer still holds it. Ian Bertolucci is directly behind, though. He has gained 2 spots since the start. He's around Cooper Akers, and now he's looking to put some laps in the books as the leader of this race. Lewis Gilbert, he's up 17 since the start of this race. Still your Delta leader. He's got Dan McFarland behind him. Back here, this is where the real fighting is going on as they come through Puhan. John Daniels on the outside. Chris McDonald on the inside. And they're making this work. And there's a car around. It's Adrian Fedorowski. And he is spun off the edge of Puhan. And he will have to rejoin at the back. Meanwhile, Daniels will stay ahead of Kyle Trost and Chris McDonald. And with Dave Thomas out of the way, it is a chance for him and JB DeJay, who isn't too much further back there. There he is behind Matthew Zepka. Both of them can bank big points here. But hey, I mean, Lewis Gilbert is looking to bank big points as well. Running 11th overall. He's gained so many spots. McFarland will probably go through on him here. There he goes up the inside. I'm sure Gilbert is mostly concerned about Daniel Bond behind. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Bauer still holding on to that spot. Michael Polasek 9 seconds off the lead right now. We're going to start keeping an eye on that. Oh, Kyle Murray's been in another wreck. Huge impact as they come up to the chicane. That was out of Blanchimont. John Lazon is going to have to pit. Logan McKenzie has retired the car. Matthew Mayer, not sure if he's going to be retiring the car. McDonald and DeJay side by side coming out of turn 1. And this should be interesting. Mitchell Rickmeyer is going to have a good view of this as they head to Eau Rouge. And they tuck in. Meanwhile, Cooper Akers going around Bertolucci at the end of the straight, and he had a sniff at the lead, and Bauer going to have to defend. Behind them, Zachary Liebold, he just got done by Raymond 2, who moves up into 4th place. He's having a great season and continues to show great pace. Now, Daniels and Gareth McAllister side by side at the end of the straight. Tyler Long sitting back there and watching as these two scrap for 6th position in the Delta class. Up ahead, Rakowski and Dunbar are also scrapping. Rakowski's gone around Dunbar for now. And this is still going on. Daniels is finally going to get the job done, I think. Can he close the door here? Yes, he can. And up ahead, let's take a look at, there is Rakowski, having gone around Dunbar. And I have lost Micah Hendricks. We'll see if he reappears right now. Battle for the Delta lead. Daniel Bond going around Lewis Gilbert on the exit of Puhan into the S-curves, and he has made his way around the 57, but Gilbert's not done yet. He goes for a look up the inside, but the 611 takes the corner normally. Now that Audi will have a lot of pull here. Now 3/10 was the gap. As they come to the final chicane, it's closing down. We're to 2/10. He will be able to go for some kind of lunge here. Where does he look on the 611? Bond goes defensive, so Gilbert will take the outside. So far, so good for Bond, but Gilbert is very close, and he's going to use the momentum to get alongside the 611. And he's going to try and take back the lead here as we roll on to lap 4, Spa. Oh, and behind we have a crash. Nick Beta off at the final chicane. And meanwhile, Gilbert completes that pass out of turn 1, but Bond will be coming right back at him down the straight. I am sure of it. Jess Rakowski is back there in 3rd place. Rick Meyer off of turn 1 side by side with Kyle Trost. He is going to have to deal with this before they get to Eau Rouge, and he does. He stays ahead. Back to the battle for the lead. Here they come down the straight, and Bond has a run up the left side of the 57 for the lead of the Delta class. On the brakes, they couldn't be more even, but the 57 is going to have that preferred line. He can't close off the 611 though. But now I think he's got him, as Bond could not carry that momentum all the way through those corners in the way that Gilbert did, and he holds on to the lead of the class for now. Now, the queue behind David Bauer is starting to get bigger and bigger. Michael Polasek has closed the gap to the lead from 9 seconds to just 5 seconds. And we still have 51 minutes of this race left. So I think with all of his rivals dispatched of already, Polasek is going to have a relatively easy time getting up front here. The question is, who's going to be on this podium? Because there are a lot of fast drivers missing. Polasek trying to get a move done on Francois Schink. He had a nose in, but couldn't finish the job. That's Mark Darnell in front of these two. And he will surely, be putting a little bit of a cork on them. But now Schink makes his way around his former teammate. And Polasek is going to follow him through. And Polasek's going to try and finish this move down the chicane, I think. Let's see what kind of momentum he's got. 2/10 to Schink. And I don't know that he's going to be close enough to perform any kind of serious move. Into the final chicane. Akers is close enough. Can't do anything there. Bertolucci having to adjust his line to account for the 29. Polasek did not manage to do anything there. But look at this. Bertolucci has found a lane, and Akers! They was trying to pinch. Bertolucci was trying to get out of it. And instead, both of them come together, and that is 2 cars out of the way for Polasek, who's about to try and dispatch a third one with Schink in turn 1. He didn't get the best exit there, but Schink going wide around the front stretch here. He's going to tuck in behind Polasek. And Bertolucci goes to the garage as well. So now the amount of competitors in this race continues to dwindle. And honestly, this isn't even the invert that has caused some of these incidents. Some of this is just Spa being Spa. Gareth McAllister very close to the back of Tyler Long as they come up ready on. He'll be looking for something as they come down the straight. He's got McDonald and DeJay behind him. But that Audi, look at the Audi. It looks like it's pulling away in the slipstream. Now, there are 2 Alpha drivers buried in this field. You have Zepka, you have Lazan. You also have D'Almeida much further back. Whoa, a lot of gravel on the track there. Someone has dragged a ton of debris onto the surface. And Zepka's going to go around Trost now. This is one of the larger groups in the field. Here's McAllister. Still stuck behind Long. And this group of 6... We've got 5 cars here and then another 4 cars back there. Now let's get a championship update as we're almost a quarter of the way through this race. The dust is starting to settle, and the consequences of what's happened kind of start to register. So let's check in on the Deltas. Lewis Gilbert is your race leader. He is pulling away from Daniel Bond right now and is looking for his first victory on the season. The 57 has a very healthy gap at the moment. Rakowski runs 3rd, and she currently is not too far off the championship lead. So a podium here would be great for her championship campaign. Bowman and Darnell and McFarlane are all getting into it at the final chicane. And McFarlane's going to use the chance to get one over on Darnell, or at least get alongside him. But down to turn 1, Darnell is going to have the better run. And Bowman's going to defend to the inside. McFarlane's going to try and use that to sweep around the outside of Darnell, and I'm not sure if he's gotten that done. Yes, he has. They continue as they were. Now Bauer, he may be under some pressure for the first time today. Bertolucci and Akers gone, but here is Raymond 2, and behind him is Zachary Liebold, who is having his best performance in his ATC career thus far. Will 2 go for a move at the end of the straight? He was right on the back of the 35, but he does not do it. So now you have these guys all stacked up. Michael Polasek, there he is, 3 seconds behind. Back to that Delta Championship update. You have John Daniels running in 5th, or is it 5th? Here is a 4th place move on Austin Dunbar, so that helps him out. But as things stand, he will be the Delta Championship leader exiting this race. So if he just needs to hold his position on track, if nothing else. Now Bowman and McFarlane are getting into it. This is out of the bike corner and down to Puhan. A little touching, a little more touching, leaving the minimum amount of space for the 23 on entry, but they get through it. And the 23, will he look for a move here now? It's a lunge. Bowman does not leave him the space, doesn't have to leave him the space. He takes that corner. But McFarlane is getting very aggressive here, knowing that if he wants to have any chance of catching any of the stragglers ahead, he will need to get around this car as soon as possible. While this is happening, will something happen in the battle for the lead? Oh, Bauer going very wide there. That's going to compromise him down at the chicane. He has to take that inside line, but 2 misses that apex. I don't think he's going to be able to take advantage of Bauer's errors. And in the end, all that's happened is Polasek has gained 8/10 on them since the last time we checked in. And Zachary Liebold may be looking for a move on the 96. Maybe he fancies leading the race for a while. Has he led a race yet in his career? Always a good milestone to hit. He's not that far from it. So continuing our Delta Championship update, DeJay is running 8th in the class right now. He is on for good points, but still a ways back from Daniels. However, the big loser so far is David Thomas, who is coming down. I think this is him hitting a scheduled pit stop, coming in a little early to repair some damage. And he is taking tires as well. So that will put him well behind the field for a bit. Now at the end of the straight, Zachary Liebold, he's gone around Raymond 2, and he's looking for the lead of this race. He keeps the nose in on the 35. The 35 leaving him the space, and on the exit of the corner, he's looking for a defense, and here comes Michael Polasek on the scene. They come into the corner, and he's going to go for the attacking move on Liebold. This is incredible. He goes around Liebold. He's looking to dispatch Bauer immediately as well. Bauer on the defense from the championship leader. Out of the bike corner, Raymond 2 is in the lead of this race all of a sudden. And here at Spa, things have heated up. The one is still behind the 35 at the moment, but it is only a matter of time before he gets into the lead of this race. He has 40 minutes of time to play with. No reason to be ultra aggressive or do anything outrageous here, especially since every single one of his closest championship rivals is gone. Francois Schink and Raymond 2 are his closest rivals in the championship right now that are near him on track. They're going to come on to the final straight before Blanchimont and the final chicane. We are watching a champion at work. He's up 14 positions. He's avoided all the carnage. And now, on approach to the final chicane, will he strike? 2 still holds the lead of this race. Bauer is defensive. Polasek looks for an ultra-aggressive move, and it almost exposes him to Liebold as he backs off. And now behind McFarland trying to finish the job on Bowman, but on exit of that final chicane, it doesn't look like he's finished the job. Bowman got the better exit, and down to turn one, the 654 edges ahead once again. Under braking though, the 23 really gained a lot of ground, turning into the corner there. There's going to be contact, and these guys, I must have seen at least 3 wrecks in a straight line today. What is going on? These guys just cannot get off of each other. I think part of it is that these guys know the side draft is powerful, so they try to inch as close to each other as possible, and they're just misjudging, going over the line. At the end of the straight, Bauer's going to be under pressure. Does he go defensive or does he let Polasek have a peek? In the braking zone, the 35 stays on the left. It's going to compromise him into this corner, but he can stay on the inside line, and this is what Raymond 2 needs to break away. Now, he certainly would hope to see Bauer continue to defend, but honestly, whoa, there he goes, though. Not much of a benefit for him in defending right now, but I suppose he's not losing any ground to Liebold and Schink. He's just giving up a chance at getting back at 2 later in the race. But now Francois Schink is on the back of this group as well. And even Dan McFarland was 1 second faster than the leaders last time around. So everyone is creeping back up to this lead pack. That might change now that 2 is in the uncontested lead. We still have 40 minutes of racing left in this one. So in the Alpha class, I mean, there's not a whole lot of Alpha drivers left. It seems like the Delta drivers have had a very nice, clean race. So we haven't caught a whole lot of carnage there. We saw Kyle Murray come together with... Oh, no, I don't even remember who he came together with. But at this point, the attrition from the Alpha class has just been crazy. There's only 8 cars up there. Then you have Zepka and Lazan, and the rest are way at the bottom. The Akers... Yeah, even Akers. Now, Bauer's having to go defensive here, but I think Polasek has done him in the braking zone. And actually, all of them are pitting, and Michael Polasek has saved an extra lap of fuel. We have hit the end of the pit cycle, and that is going to send all the leaders down pit road. And I think Polasek may be about to jump into the lead. I don't think 2 had a large enough advantage, a large enough cushion for this. Let's see what happens when they come down pit road. It's going to be busy. And a whole bunch of cars are on pit lane at the moment. There's Bowman into his stall, and you see most of them taking tires, but Francois Schink does the short stop. He puts fuel in, no tires. Gilbert is in, your Delta leader. He's taking tires. Raymond 2 is away. They've got him down. Zachary Liebold is out of the pits as well. Is anyone slow? David Bauer's going to be out last. He had the slowest stop of them all, and now he's off pit lane. McFarland will beat Bowman off. Gilbert will stay in the lead of the Delta class provisionally, with Bond coming out just behind him. Rakowski is following. John Daniels and Tyler Long on a race off pit road, and that will be Daniels emerging in front. DeJay is just behind that group. Now here's David Thomas, who, yes, he was on that early pit strategy. He's still well behind these groups. So here is Raymond 2, Zachary Liebold, David Bauer. Oh, Bauer, he was looking for a move, I think, but actually that may have just been going a little wide, really wide. He's going to drag a ton of gravel onto the track there, and more gravel onto the track there. And now if we look from the point of view of Austin Dunbar, look at all this. Gravel and a little bit there. He didn't pull too much onto the track there. Marcel Thomas looks like the only Delta driver who went that extra lap. Adrian Fedorowski appears to have done the same. So those guys, Darnell, McDonald, Gareth McAllister. I'm not looking far up into the grid enough. McDonald and Gareth McAllister also got that extra lap. And then you have Zepka and Trost There's Shink going around McAllister now as Zepka follows, though, through the gravel. And Polasek hits pit road now, so we're about to find out if he has maintained the lead of this race. And further down the field, there is McAllister, trailing just behind Shink. And he is expected to pit along with Chris McDonald. And there he is. It's a clean entry for him. McAllister, Zepka, and Trost are next, and they have all managed to do that well. And there is John Lazon, who pitted early due to damage, so he will not be pitting for another couple laps. Now, where is Michael Polasek? There he is. Shink assumes the lead off of the fuel stop. Lazon doing the same off of his early short stop. And there it is, Michael Polasek. He spent 0.7 of a second less time on pit lane than Raymond 2. The rest of that time was made up on track, and he is currently 2.4 seconds ahead of Raymond 2. He was basically a second and a half faster than him over the in lap and the out lap. And so Michael Polasek is now your de facto leader of this race, and I think he's going to win this race by a lot. Lewis Gilbert emerged still your leader of the Delta class, but in a much less certain position. He currently has Daniel Bond on his rear bumper. Bond still has that gap at 1 second. Very, very close stuff, just barely within range. But part of what that is doing is it is giving him what little slipstream he can to stay with Gilbert in these sections where Gilbert's slightly faster. But I think eventually, if Gilbert manages to stay clean, he could end up completely dropping Bond. And now I see it looks like Rick Meyer had gone off track, but he's back on, and another car adds to the all the marbles there. McDonald going wide there, defending from John Daniels. Daniels looking to get into the top 5 in the Delta class. Into the entry of Puon. He's got the inside. Can he defend against the over-under? He'll stay to the right side as McDonald's looks left at the very last second. And into the corner. Daniels should not have too much of an issue defending this. But, hey, McDonald has kept his nose in. Now this could get interesting. He's going to force Daniels onto an odd line through these corners. But Daniels will be able to eke ahead there and take a more normal racing line. And now look at this. Gilbert has made some mistakes, and the battle for the Delta lead is on. And that battle that we were looking at is not over yet either. McDonald and Daniels are side by side as they head down to the chicane, but these two are as well. Your Delta leaders as Bond goes all the way out of the track limits, pushing it to the very edge. And now, as they head to the chicane, Gilbert will stay ahead. We look to McDonald and Daniels. Daniels has eked ahead down the straight, but as we come to the chicane, will McDonald come back at him? Yes, on the brakes. He pulls even, and he comes back ahead of the O2. This is great stuff from the Delta class today. Tyler Long and JB DeJay isn't too far back there either. But for now, McDonald will hold on to 5th in the class. And for now, Gilbert will hold on to the lead of this race, and he has widened that gap back open a little bit. And you can see how much carnage there has been when you look at how many positions some of these drivers have gained. Look at the Delta class's gains. These guys are avoiding the trouble. Oh, speaking of trouble, contact between Daniels, and that was either McDonald or Long. And in the background, he goes into the wall, and now he has 7 long laps to survive with that damage as Tyler Long tries to take advantage of the situation, and he comes together with Chris McDonald. It's unbelievable. And just as I was praising the Delta class, it's all going wrong. McDonald will have to rejoin behind Matthew Zepka. He doesn't have too much damage. Behind Dave Tom. Oh, this is a huge group of cars going by him. And there is Rickmeyer, who will be the final car to go around McDonald. McDonald will try and stay ahead of him here. And he gets that job done. Okay. So, after all that, Daniels is back in 5th place, but now he has damage. Tyler Long might have a penalty. I'm not sure. It was hard to tell who was at fault there. So JB DeJay may be about to collect 2 positions fairly easily. Now for Gilbert, look at him. He's on the back of Mark Darnell. He's looking for more points as the Alpha driver slips into the clutches of the Delta leader. Through Blanchimont they go. Lazan finally taking his pit stop. Gilbert going to the outside. Darnell defends inside. And on the braking zone, the 57. Look, it's the job done. Lewis Gilbert is no stranger to winning in this series. He has 2 Delta victories to his name. He has 51 Delta starts. He is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He's looking to bag his 7th career Delta podium and 3rd career Delta victory here over Daniel Bond, who has yet to win a Delta race in his Alpha touring career. Developing, well, not really developing battle, but one that's been ongoing. Zachary Bowman and Dan McFarland. Now, they might be working together a little bit here to catch Zachary Liebold, because Liebold is losing touch with Raymond too, and is running slower laps, falling into the clutches of McFarland and Bowman. Now here is now we got to go back here for a moment because John Daniels is under pressure from DeJay, and he's gonna have to tuck in and look at the straight line speeds. I wonder how much of that is that damage. We'll get a good look at it if we go on board with DeJay. There's the right front damage. I wonder how much that is handicapping Daniels. It doesn't look too bad. Actually, that wheel looks like it's a bit out of alignment. I wonder if we could get an onboard. He's going to come around the bike corner, and then they'll be driving in a straight line. Let's see if that wheel is pointing the wrong direction. It's definitely not driving straight. It's a little bent. It's not the worst thing in the world. Now back to the Delta leader. There's another wrench in this little recipe, and that's David Bauer. He's faster than all 3 of these guys, and will probably be looking to pass. Bond's going to be looking to get around Darnell as soon as possible so he can keep up his pursuit of the Delta lead. Look back here. Lobner, McAllister, and McDonald are all scrapping for 10th place in the Delta class. This has been a very close fight over the course of this race. Not too far ahead of them, there is Dave Thomas. Still up 20 positions from the start, but hasn't quite recovered from that early incident. And Lobner going too wide there, ends up in the gravel. And that is probably going to end up with him behind Rickmeyer, because this is a very long straight. And Rickmeyer is going to sail around the 41 in this one. And we got to go back to Mark Darnell, because here is Daniel Bond's chance to get around him and go back to chasing Gilbert, because they're going to go down this straight and he's going to get slipstream. And Gilbert's gotten far enough away now that Darnell isn't going to have as strong as a slipstream, but Bond didn't get a good run, so actually Bauer may be the guy who's going to make all these overtakes first. Let's see, as they come out of Radion. It looks like they may all be stuck in a little train here at the moment. And these guys are... Look at that. That was a simply well done by Daniel Bond. He takes advantage of Mark Darnell at the very end of the straight, and David Bauer is going to come through with him. Great job by the Breakfast for Dinner driver, and he has finished that overtake Daniel Bond staves him off for a little bit, but now I think he doesn't want to fight Bauer too much and hope that he can use him to kind of get back up to Gilbert. The second round of pit stops in this race will be happening in the next 10 minutes or so. It seemed like some people pitted right on the mark there, the 20-minute mark. I wonder how that's going to play out at the end of the race. You'd hate to see them have to do a third stop. Now, Zachary Liebold, Daniel Bond's teammate, he's been reeled in by Dan McFarland and Zachary Bowman. And shout out to Formula Llama, because they are having a fantastic performance today. A little over halfway through this race, and the teammates are both in the top 10, both having their best career performances, both hunting podiums. McFarland trying to make that a little less likely for Liebold here. Both going wide of Blanchimont. Liebold moves to the left side, and I think McFarland will be able to go around fairly easily here, getting back onto the racing line, and he is into 4th place. I'm sure Bowman will be looking to follow, but Zachary Bowman and Zachary Liebold have been attached at the hip this season. They have had very similar pace over multiple events. And now, here's Bond with Bauer on the attack in the chicane. On the exit of the corner, Bauer using all the track and then some, but I think he's going to get by. And for Bond now, it's a matter of hoping that Bauer can get him up to Lewis Gilbert, assuming Bauer can finish the overtake here, and he does. So now, look at this, down the straight, Liebold, he's flashing McFarland. I wonder if he's saying, let's go get Raymond too. If he doesn't attempt an overtake down this straightaway, let's see, is there a bump draft? He's letting off the gas, so these guys are all working together, at least for the moment. So we'll check back in on them. They're currently 2.7 seconds off of Raymond 2, so we'll see how that goes. Bauer going, oh no! He went defensive on Bond. Bond, he just needed Bauer to carry it up to Gilbert, but they come together for a moment there. That picks Bond backwards and does it deal damage to that car? It does. There is right front damage on that Hyundai now. And he falls to 3 seconds back off of Lewis Gilbert. Now here's John Lazon working on John Daniels. Not too often we see these two racing next to each other, but it's a clean overtake from the 77. And the series vet, not often mentioned, John Lazon has the third most starts, third most appearances in series history, continues to be one of the most experienced veterans in the Alpha Touring Challenge. Currently running in 15th. After a tough start to this race. Now Zachary Liebold, he's lost touch with McFarland here. This is interesting, because if he loses McFarland, you look back at that chance he could have had to pass him back, and you wonder, should he just taken that? But we do have 25 minutes left in the race. It's not like there's 5 minutes left, so all these drivers are still thinking long term here instead of short term. Gilbert is cruising right now. He is having the time of his life up there in the Delta lead, and though he has two wins to his name, the last time that he actually picked up a race victory, let's see if I can remember when that was. By remember, I mean consult our expert stats team. As Austin Dunbar comes down pit lane, that will put him out of that position for a bit. And Dave Thomas is looking for a... is that Dave Thomas? Why have I lost him? That's because he also went into the pits. And this may be inside the fuel window. It's very close, but these drivers are probably good. 23 minutes left. Liebold did catch back up to McFarland, so maybe there's not too much to worry about there in terms of him losing touch with the 23. For Lewis Gilbert, He's trying to win this race right now as his Delta rival JB Dejay gets passed by Lausanne on the Kimmel Straight. Gilbert, his last Delta victory was 25 races ago. That would have been, or no, not 25 races ago, excuse me. 42 races ago. He took the win at the last race of Season 12 of the Red Bull Ring. And his first career win was the feature race, or the second race, at Motegi East in the same season. So they were very close to each other, and then he hasn't won anything since. Big gap between victories. Always good to see that gap closed down for a driver, a veteran like the 57. And now we have some scrapping. Corey Lobner trying to get this position back from Rick Meyer that we saw him lose by going wide in the gravel earlier. We mentioned, it was so many races ago for Lewis Gilbert. We should mention this is the 300th race in Alpha Touring Challenge history. 300 races, nearly 5. It's been 4.5 years of racing. It's been quite an interesting race, quite an entertaining 300th race. Michael Polosek is looking to put his stamp on it, though, and come away with another win in this season. It's starting to shape up to be a dominant one. He has not used the drop week yet. Meanwhile, we see his competitors already hitting their drop week limit. He wins race after race. The endurance challenges are nobody's any match for the one. And now here he has resumed the lead. 20 minutes to go. Schink has just exited the pit lane behind Mark Darnell, having finished his fuel to fuel tires strategy. McFarlane is catching up to Raymond too, and he is pulling these two drivers along. So we've got 2 spots on that podium and 4 cars trying to fit on it. And let's not forget, Francois Schink is going to factor into this at some point, because when everyone pits, they will all come back to him. Assuming he doesn't get held up too much by Bond and Darnell. The positioning of those 2 drivers is not helping him out right now. And speaking of Bond, he's lost more ground to Gilbert. Gilbert now with a 5-second lead. He has Bauer behind, but nothing to worry about. And he is naturally, I think, 8th place, if you take into account pit stops, or 7th place. I think the only driver that should be ahead of him is Francois Schink. I think Lewis Gilbert is running a natural 7th place in an endurance challenge with 20 minutes to go, leading the Delta class. Bauer may go around him, but he's been stuck back there for a bit, and he goes a bit wide, and he's going to have to gather himself up and go again. He looked inside, and by the time he got back to the outside, the braking zone had gone away from him. And behind, Tyler Long, currently provisionally 3rd, though... Who is pitted out of that position? Is Tyler Long actually 3rd in the Delta class right now? So he's running 3rd. DeJay's 2 seconds off of him. I just thought there was someone else ahead of him, but I suppose not. Oh, John Daniels did pit. And Jess Rakowski is pitted. And now this is interesting. Raymond 2, Dan McFarlane, Zachary Liebold, they all pit. Bowman has saved the extra lap and stays out. He was at the back of this group. Let's keep an eye on how this goes. 2 and McFarlane hit their stalls at about the same time. It's Liebold who's a ways back. So I think McFarlane will be very close here on exit. There's Daniel Bond. Lewis Gilbert also down pit road. And on exit, McFarlane is right on the back of the 96. And out of pit lane, they've both been passed by Francois Schink. The strategy has done well for him. He's not been held up by traffic, and I think he is on for a P2 here. Darnell has done that extra lap as well. Now down the Kemmel Straight. They know they've been done by Francois. Do they think they can catch Francois, or do they start scrapping? 17 minutes to go. Shink's going to go around Darnell the end of the straight, and Darnell not putting up too much of a fight there. And McFarlane has to stay behind 2 for this moment here. Now Bond, he's pitted back into traffic here, ahead of Rick Meyer, behind Lobner. And your Delta leader, Lewis Gilbert, he's just ahead of this group, having also pitted, but he doesn't have traffic. Bauer went around him in the pits. John Daniels, I'm seeing a notification that he crashed, but I think I'm not sure why I'm seeing that notification. But he looks fine. He is behind Tyler Long after the pit stops, so... But however, Rakowski is ahead of Long, so this may be Rakowski looking at a podium. Gilbert, Bond, Rakowski. Because the rest have yet to come down pit road. Now, McFarlane, does he have a go at Raymond 2 into the final chicane? He's going to try and set himself up for this as best he can. He has a slipstream, but it's just not working for him down to the final chicane. Will he be close enough for a lunge? He's at about a 1/10.5. 2 is going to go defensive. So the 23 goes to the outside. Hits that first apex, and now he's going to take the outside here and force Raymond 2 to go shallow on the exit. He decided instead of the over-under, I'm just going to do the over, and it has worked beautifully for the 23. He's up the inside into turn 1 and moving into 4th place. As long as he can nail La Source, and he does. And there's Zachary Bowman on exit of pit lane. It has not helped him get ahead of this group. Lazon is here as well. He'll have to pit one more time before the end of this race, but he is not making this any more simple for these guys. Raymond 2 is shoving the 23 up a Radion. He gets a bit off of him there. Lazon's going to give him a shove. Oh, and he gives him a shot, a bump draft all the way past the 23. And he will have nearly cleared him by the braking zone, and Raymond 2 goes back ahead. Oh, but look at this lunge from McFarlane. Leaving nothing to chance. He wants to get back ahead before they get back into another straight, but that allows Lazon around his outside. So, oh, it's 3 wide. There's no way that works. McFarlane getting the elbows out. He says, I'm tired of this, and now Raymond 2. He gets kicked out by John Lazon. There were too many cars and not enough pavement. And I think that was a little argy-bargy from all those drivers, and Dan McFarlane knows it. He allows all 3 of them to go by. That doesn't really help Raymond 2. You know who that helps? Zachary Bowman. Bowman gets around both of them off of that carnage. It also helps Zachary Liebold get back into this scrap for the podium. But I think Bowman, it's currently advantage him if he's trying to get another career podium. He's on for it, and Lazon giving him a good buffer. I think Lazon will have to pit in the next lap or 2. And there's your race leader finally having to come down. He did 9 laps per stint. Nobody else in the race did that on both stints. And here he is. Excuse me. There's a few people doing it. Nobody else yet. Mark Darnell, Matt Zepka, Chris McDonald, Gareth McAllister, and Corey Lobner are all on course to do that. They got to pit this lap. Polsek is out. That's Jeremy Barber behind him on pit lane. He'll come out head and with a ton of open space for him to claim another victory in the Alpha Touring Challenge. And when we talk about all-time race winners, you usually think of Savidovic. Waj Savidovic long held the the record for most race wins in this series at 51. Michael Polasek this season has been edging closer and closer, and he is on pace to break that record by the end of this season if he wins. Doesn't even have to win out at this point. Zachary Bowman has been passed by John Lazan, and now all this is about to kick off again because Raymond 2 is on his back bumper as well. As they come to the end of the straight, it looks like nobody's close enough to make a move. We look to Delta drivers exiting pit road. That's McAllister, Lobner, and Kyle Trost is going to try and beat McAllister here on the exit. Oh, this is going to be tight. Down to Eau Rouge. It's going to be side by side into the corner, and Trost has the momentum, and he will pull fully ahead. That's 8th place in the Delta class for him. And now, Micah Hendricks, something's happened to him, and he has gone to pit lane. And Adrian Fedorowski has crashed. His day comes to an end with 10 minutes to go. Kyle Murray coming down pit road there. And now, Lobner and Thomas side by side for 11th in class. Thomas will make that move. And we go back to the battle for 3rd place. And look at this, 5 cars, 1 spot. Lazan's a bit of a lame duck. He'll probably pit on this lap. Unless he's been saving fuel, but it'll have to be this lap or the next. And Bowman will surely be coming under some pressure on this lap from the 96. They come into the final chicane, and he'll have the cushion of the slipstream from Lazan this time around, but this upcoming lap, when Lazan goes into the pits, he will be unprotected down the Kemmel Straight. Now let's watch and see if Lazan does go into the pits or if he saves another lap. And nope, he is in. So, Zachary Bowman, it's now down to him. 10 minutes, 3 cars, all of whom might be faster than him, 2 of which are I think, definitely faster than him. How will this play out? Francois Schink and Michael Polasek are long gone. Lewis Gilbert looks like he has the Delta lead wrapped up. These 4 drivers, this is where the rest of the scrapping that is going to go on in this race is going to happen. Lazan comes out of pit lane. Now, this is going to be interesting. He will come out of pit lane right ahead of Lewis Gilbert. Does Gilbert go for extra points, or does he protect his Delta lead? He's going for the extra points. In Eau Rouge, side by side, the Delta leader leaves nothing on the table. He's going to cut the corner and take a slowdown penalty there, almost certainly. Daniel Bond, 4 seconds back right now. Bowman still holds on to that position at the moment. Let's go back to Gilbert. He hasn't served the slowdown on the straight. Bond at 3.5 seconds. And I guess I don't have confirmation that he has a slowdown, but he went really far over the top of Radion. And there it is. He's having to serve it, and Lazan almost wrecks him on the exit of the corner because he's slowing down so much. He was trying really hard to stay ahead of Lazan, but it just didn't work out. Now, if he has served it, then all is well, and he's still got a 3-second lead. There they are in the background of David Bauer there. Now, Bowman still has one hand, on this podium. But 2 of McFarlane are trying to rip it off. Liebold has dropped off the back of these guys, so it's down to this trio. And there are more points as well in the Delta class at stake, as DeJay is under pressure from John Daniels and Chris McDonald for a top 5 in that class. Here we go. Raymond 2 will be looking for an attack vector. Bowman will surely hug the right side. Will McFarlane try and get a nose in as well? Oh, they come together a little bit. Coming together even more. This is messy stuff from these drivers. 2 gets ahead. McFarlane says, that was none of my business, but I'm happy to get alongside and try and attack the 654. That looked like maybe Bowman went a little wide, and then from there, the two just came together and clattered over the apex. 2 is going to get away here, or will he? 7/10. The question is, does Bowman have a slowdown? I think he cut across. One of them cut across. Meanwhile, back here, into the same chicane. Daniels on the outside, DeJay on the inside. Daniels gets a nice lunge into the second portion of it. But in the end, that's going to open him to attack from Chris McDonald. And into turn 1, the 85 on the brakes. He has a nose on the 0-2. And that's going to be enough. And now look at DeJay playing the slipstream game, trying to keep them side by side as they come down to Eau Rouge. And why not? But McAllister will back out, and he'll let Daniels take that at a relatively decent speed. Now, Raymond 2 did not get away here. Bowman has closed back up to him, but McFarland is doing everything he can to put himself in position to be the one to go after 2. Now, Tyler Long has gone around Mark Darnell for some extra points in the Delta class there. He's already sitting there on the podium. He's gone around Murkowski as well, and now he is looking to stay ahead of the Alpha driver. Darnell makes a mistake, and will Murkowski take advantage? Not able to. She's stuck back there, and she'll be just off the podium for this one, I think. She gets a good run off the bike corner. Down to Puhan. I think she's going to be forced to go to the inside. You hate to attack here. It's so difficult. Darnell on the outside, though. With relative ease, the 999 goes around, and she will be chasing back after that Delta podium. Bowman's now under some serious pressure. 2 has a small cushion. Bowman does not. The 23 looking for some kind of way around. I'm sure. Oh, look at that. Bowman thought about leaving the right side of the track, and McFarland was happy to stay there. And in the meantime, Daniels has been, no, he's still behind McDonald. Now Raymond 2, but Bowman got a good run off that final corner, so all of a sudden it's 2 under pressure. And there are just two laps to go, maybe 3 laps to go in this one. And Leibold's right up to the back of these guys. All it takes is a little bit of scrapping, and everyone rejoins the fight. Daniels pushing it as hard as he can to try and get back at the 85. McDonald goes for the defense on the inside. Daniels will have to tuck in. And now they come off of Radion, and Bowman is on the back of the 96 once again. And these guys are so close to each other. It's a bump draft from the 654 into the corner. How's this going to work out? McFarland takes his bet and says, I'm getting around Bowman now. If Bowman screws up, and Bowman does. Oh, a little touch, but McFarland survives, and now it's Zach versus Zach. They are side by side, and Raymond 2's trying to get away with the podium. Leibold gets back behind the 654, and now it is McFarland's turn to try and go after this podium. Just over 3 minutes left in this race. JB DeJay still under intense pressure from these two. He moves to the normal racing line at the end of the straight, and he takes the apex, keeping that 5th position. He's gained 23 spots since the start of this race. McDonald is giving him no reprieve. On board with DeJay as they roll through the bike corner. And now through Puhan they go. And right now, McDonald inching very, very close. And on the exit of the corner, he's looking for somewhere to go with all of it. He goes to the outside. We've seen him hold the outside of this corner before. Couldn't do it that time. DeJay keeping the position. Michael Polasek Goes through turn 1 now. Does he have the white flag? I'm not sure. Francois Schenck follows him. We're looking for a flag, and I'm not seeing it. We're getting one more lap after this. Very close stuff. But 2.5-minute laps. It looks like Polasek just got there before the white flag. Now, here is Mark Darnell chasing after Rakowski as she tries to close the gap to Long. But on that last lap, they did an identical lap time, actually. Whoa, a bit of a lunge from Darnell and Rakowski. Off the final corner, and they are definitely not getting the white flag yet. And there's more fighting back here. Trost and McAllister have been going at it as well. But here is the main show. This is Raymond 2 doing a fantastic job of holding on to a podium spot. This would be another career podium for him. He doesn't have a win yet, but he's starting to bag the podiums, and this is by far, this season, been his best average quality position and best average finishing position in his career. This race is going to add to it. 1 minute to go here at Spa. He's trying to keep McFarlane behind. Down the Kimmel Straight. DeJay all the way on the right side of the track now, expecting an attack from McDonald. He goes to the outside. Daniels is back there, just kind of stuck, waiting for these guys to choose, you know, one of them to win so he can go with him. McDonald again not able to do anything to DeJay there, but now going for the over-under. DeJay will move to defend, and that sticks McDonald on the inside of Daniels, who will try and take advantage as a chance to get around McDonald, but I think he turned in a bit early. Contact with the 85, and his plan is foiled. He goes back behind the Honda and the Elantra. Cutting back to this battle, the 96 of Raymond 2 and the 23 of Dan McFarlane. McFarlane pushing it all the way to the edge there. They're going to roll through Blanchimont now at top speed in these Hondas. I don't think McFarlane's close enough to do anything, and we are getting the checkered flag. So across the line, Michael Polasek by 18 seconds. He dominates Spa despite it being an invert. It's no contest. He avoids the carnage. Francois Schenck P2, and it will be Raymond 2 P3 as Bowman misses the chicane on the final corner, and that will demote him behind Leibold to P6. In the Delta class, coming to the final chicane, he wasn't that far off Bauer in the end. Lewis Gilbert, his third career Delta victory is in the bag. Across the line, the 57 wins at Spa. Daniel Bond, is it his first career podium? Across the line in the Delta class, along with Tyler Long. And the two of those having a fantastic race. Jess Rakowski coming home 4th place. And McDonald will win this scrap against DeJay and Daniels in the end. He gets around DeJay at the very end and bags that top 5. There's your Delta winner, Lewis Gilbert. And what a incredible performance from him. He has done himself a great job. He's bagged a ridiculous amount of points, finishing 9th. So it's time, now that incredible race is over, to get a look at our final results here in a moment. There's still a few cars we're waiting to cross the line. There goes Rickmeyer, but Gilbert, there's his teammate Jason Lynn parking up to celebrate. A well-deserved win from him. He didn't put a foot wrong today, and Bond kept him pretty honest. There is Mike D'Almeida. Damon Mitchell still about to cross the line, and it kind of feels like the Nürburgring with how long we're waiting for people to come across. But Mitchell and Murray are finishing up their run. And into the final chicane they go. 1 hour of racing done and dusted at Spa-Francorchamps. It's time to take a look at your final results. Starting at the very top, It is none other than Michael Polasek. He has won this race by a disgusting 18 seconds, having started in P17. Francois Schenck, P2 with the podium. Great job from him. He kept it clean, pulled away from the rest of the field. Raymond 2 gets on the podium at the end. Took a lot of effort. He gets it done. And that is going to be third for him, fourth for McFarland, fifth for Liebold, who banks on Bowman, missing the chicane there at the end. Lazan finished seventh, and Bauer eighth after all of that. And so basically, we had 6 Alpha drivers have a drama-free race, because even Lazan and Bauer were affected. Look, they were 20 seconds off the rest of the field because they had to. They had their various. Wait, what did happen to Bauer? I don't actually remember, but he did end up further back, didn't he? Yep. I don't think Darnell had any issues either, but Darnell 13th, and then Gilbert, your Delta winner, 9th place overall. Bond and Long right there behind him, not too far off. Although in the end, Gilbert had 7 seconds on him. That's a nice margin for a Delta victory. Rakowski in 4th, McDonald 5th, DeJay, Daniels down there in 16th. But good for him. None of his rivals benefited from... None of them had a good day. Daniels is 16th, DeJay's 15th, and Dave Thomas down there in 20th. It's going to make for an interesting championship table when we look at it in a moment. And that is it for your results here. You see some stragglers like D'Almeida and Mitchell pretty far down there. Murray had a couple incidents. Fedorowski had the late incident. And then, of course, you have Hendricks, Akers, Bertolucci. Akers and Bertolucci were involved in the same incident. Mayer, McKenzie, and Hendricks were all involved in different incidents. And Mayer and McKenzie being at the bottom of this table. Wow. Talk about handing the trophy to Polasek halfway through the season. It'll be tough to recover from that. For either of those two in this championship fight. And that actually inches Francois Schenck a lot closer to them in the standings. Speaking of those standings, it's time to get you guys a look at the current championship standings as we pass the halfway mark of this season. 300 races of the Alpha Touring Challenge wrapped up, done. It feels like just yesterday that the series started, and now we're celebrating huge milestones such as this. Couldn't have done it without everyone sticking around, racing with us, watching week in and week out, supporting the series. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you for the rest of this season and many more, and have a good night.